What week is it?
28.
So what do you want to do?
I don't know. We don't have an intro yet. Welcome, everybody, to the Glaziar Gambol podcast. This is episode number 28 of our sports section. I am Mychal Glaziar. This is Joe Rybolt, and we have some good stuff for you today. We're going to start with some NBA, move on to the NFL. We got Lebron James' birthday, some other basketball news that's not too big. We got NFL Hall of Fame news. We got Minnesota Vikings news with Brian O'Neill, Justin Jefferson, Mike Zimmer. Rest in peace, John Madden. We're going to talk about that for a bit. And then I have a question or a topic I'd like to talk about with Sean McVay. And then we have a Hall of Fame discussion outside of that with the NFL. So first thing, like we like to normally do, start with the basketball. Start with the NBA of A's. First, Minnesota Timberwolves. So right now, all-star voting is going on.
Right.
D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns are currently
that's who the Wolves are promoting. I don't know why Jake Layman's not on there, but
or Jaylen Noel or Greg Monroe.
Yeah.
But
all six of those guys have.
Personally, I don't think D'Angelo Russell should be out there. It should just be Ant or Cat should be getting votes.
Right. I mean, a team. Okay, so like, obviously those are the players. That's who the NBA thinks of when they think of the Wolves is Cat and Anthony Edwards. I mean, I get it. D'Angelo was a former All-Star, and in my opinion, he's kind of the Wolves All-Star. Like, I feel like
he got a big welcome party. They had an event when he joined the team, so he's supposed to be like a big name. He's supposed to be part of the big three of the Wolves,
and he is. I think that he's more important to the Wolves than the NBA thinks. Like the NBA's probably thinks that like he's useless compared to Cat and Ant when in actuality like the spacing and like the shot making and everything is 500 times better when D'Angelo's on the floor. But I get what you're saying. I would imagine if Cat would be there for the name and the stats, Anthony Edwards would be there for the big dunks, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I hear you. He's a former All-Star. The Wolves are pushing him.
Yeah, I get why they're pushing him, but if I look at it from an objective fan point of view, I don't think D'Angelo Russell.
Anthony Russell,
just combine them. Yeah, I think if I was just an objective fan, I don't think D'Angelo Russell is an All-Star this year.
Sure,
but I did want to bring that up. Oh goodness! Whew.
I'm sure the Heat are like doing the same thing with like Jimmy, Lowry, Adebayo.
The last Timberwolves topic I wanted to mention was Greg Monroe. They brought him out because COVID taking the NBA by storm, and
for some reason the Wolves having all of their starters out plus 3 more bench players, and there's no postponement, but
yeah. Well,
Harden's sick.
Greg Monroe broke a record. Oh, I saw that. Greg Monroe broke a record.
What record
he was the 571st NBA player to play this year, which is the most in NBA history in a single season.
Yeah.
So, Minnesota Timberwolves
for every
breaking records.
It's like for every 2 players they have to sign one or something like that. So
yeah. And I did want to ask you: is Greg Monroe the best big man of all time for the Timberwolves?
I mean, it's got to be Darko Milicic is up there.
Andre Kirilenko as power forward.
Kirilenko is up there, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you think of our old centers and like the good ones, like Olwa Candy was all right. No, you got Rasho Nesterovic, right? Rasho Nesterovic go way back. Leitner, Pekovic was a beast when he was healthy.
Yep. Craig Smith technically played center.
Al Jefferson was good. So
Mark Madsen.
Yeah, 6'8", Mark Madsen.
I
don't know. We've never really had like a dominating center.
Right. KG wasn't the center. Cat doesn't dominate. So
yeah.
But yeah, I obviously I was joking, but yeah, Greg Monroe, great. And,
I obviously the dynamic of having a guy that's actually like 6'11", 300 pounds is
adds to your
Useful.
team. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
good
crazy.
passer too. Good passer.
You can't teach size.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know. He still looks like he's still got some. So
he hasn't been out that long, and
2.5
still
years,
fairly young. Well, I mean, there's Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, there was, what was it? The longest, there was players that came back. The longest they haven't played was 4.5 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So in that,
I mean, he's playing big three too, though. Joe Johnson was playing big three, and he's basically the MVP for like 2 seasons of big three.
We do have 2 last pieces of basketball news. First is, so we talked about LeBron James wanting to swap out Russell Westbrook, hopefully, or do something, get Rubio,
trade Russ was trending the other day.
Yeah, well, and it was trending because of last night. This is recorded on Thursday. He's the turnover leader in the league right now by just so much, and he had his triple double, but he missed 2 layups during the game, including one that was unguarded on the baseline. I watched that one. Yeah, there was nobody there, and after he missed, he was looking for a foul, but there was no one around him.
It wasn't the game that the Lakers won when him and LeBron both had triple doubles. I think it was like the game after that.
Oh yeah, it was this one.
Because no one's talking when the Lakers win, but as soon as the Lakers slip a game, then it's like, get Westbrook.
And Russ was positive for the plus minus. It's just he makes huge mistakes.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, we talked about how Russ is an issue for them. I don't know if he really is. I think if they had AD, they'd be winning more and people wouldn't be talking as much.
Well, LeBron shouldn't have pushed Jaden McDaniels into his knee, so
yeah, exactly. They also shouldn't be playing LeBron 38 minutes, but they have to, and they should have built the team smarter around him, but they can't. The Austin Reeves was doing well, but now he's in COVID protocol because he's either very sick or unvaccinated and still symptomatic because he's been out longer than anybody I know for COVID.
You see that Patty Mills scored like 34 points in the Nets win the other night? Yeah.
That was the first person I said they should have got. That was Lakers.
Patty Mills and Buddy Hield, man. That's what we were saying.
Patty Mills, Buddy Hield. If they had Patty Mills, this would be a completely different Lakers team. He'd be starting for them right now.
Yeah.
Would have been smart. Now, even getting a guy like Doug McDermott, something just that is better than what they have now.
Just a scorer, someone that can just score besides LeBron.
The Hawks were looking to trade DeAndre Hunter or Cam Reddish. One of those two.
Cam Reddish last year. Yeah. Cam Reddish, who had what was it, 43 or something like that?
Could have got Cam Reddish. Oh man! But anyway, they wanted to make a change. The Lakers are apparently looking to make a change. Well, one of the guys we talked about that they wanted was Ricky Rubio. Yep. Ricky Rubio took a bad fall / got injured, immediately called for medical attention because he knew something bad happened. I believe they said he tore his ACL.
Torn ACL, yeah. So it takes me back to
after he's like triple double. He has like 27 points, 16. He was just going nuts.
No, he has torn his ACL before. When rest in peace, Kobe Bryant ran and they collided knees in a game. He went down, but I will die on the hill of Ricky Rubio, still underrated. Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw it firsthand in that Wizards game, however long ago. Yep. John Wall had like 5 points. And the fact that he went 3 years in a row of being the number 1 ISO defender. Yeah. The point. Well, whatever.
No, it's not good. Not good. But so obviously they're not going to go for Rubio now. But apparently, Shams Charania broke the news today. The Lakers are looking, the Cleveland Cavaliers are wanting Rajon Rondo. They are looking to trade for Rajon Rondo. Normally you would think, and the reason that they're looking for that is because of Rubio's injury. Normally you would think, maybe Rubio for Rondo, like if Rubio was injured, wasn't injured, but if he wasn't injured, they wouldn't be looking for Rondo. So is it going to be a Kevin Love for Rajon Rondo? I don't think that's really fair for the Cavs, to be honest, because Kevin Love still has some in him. Right. But the Lakers, they really want Kevin Love. The Lakers need shooting. Kevin Love would just become almost like a stretch 3 on the Lakers roster. He would have such a weird role on the Lakers because of the way they're built. Yeah. Because he's either playing small ball center, which he's not going to want to do.
That's a lot of work, and he doesn't seem like a worker right now.
No. And they have guys like they brought in guys like Dwight, and they still are adamant on playing DeAndre Jordan for some reason. So they have guys that center they want to pick, and then when AD comes back, Kevin Love's not going to be like, oh yeah, I want to be a stretch 4 off the bench. Sounds like he's gonna. So
why don't they just build like they just back when they ran 2 bigs? Okay, they ran 2 bigs. It was Dwight and AD.
Yeah.
When they ran that, and so essentially they had Anthony Davis at the 4. They ran like a traditional lineup, right? Like they had LeBron was playing point guard, but like they had a.
Did I just say they had Dwight? They don't have him anymore, right? Pretty sure they don't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said that. That's my bad. But they're adamant on playing DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, that's not a good at all.
Yeah, but I agree what you were saying there. They could run just a double big in like. Could you imagine Russ, LeBron, and your rest of your team is Kevin Love, Anthony Davis, and DeAndre Jordan? That's just like the tallest lineup in basketball.
Well, no, I mean I'd play AD at the 5, but then I play Kevin Love at the 4, LeBron at the 3. If you want to play Russ and Caleb were teammates in college, so
yeah. I agree. I think and then they've been liking Malik Monk a lot. Do you run, because especially if they get rid of Rondo,
someone who can shoot. I mean,
right? It'd be so. And THT, it's not their shooter. He's 0 for 14 in the last 16. Like he is not doing. He's regressed huge. Maybe like a Buddy Hield or Patty Mills.
One of those guys.
It'll be their starting lineup. If the Lakers make the playoffs, their starting lineup's gonna be like Isaiah Thomas, Russell Westbrook.
Isaiah Thomas just signed a 10-day with the Mavs now.
Yeah, he's gonna go all over. I don't know what the Lakers are gonna do. We said it last week. I don't think there's anything they're going to be able to do. And I do think Kevin Love makes them better if they trade Rondo for Kevin Love. But
the salaries don't match,
right?
At all.
Who do the Lakers have to throw in with it? Is it, and do the Cavs want anything that the Lakers throw with it? And if not, who are the Cavs trading Rondo for?
All right.
Sham Charania broke the news like he always does. Cavs are adamant on going for Rajon Rondo. I have no idea how that trade gets done. I just don't. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the Cavs offer to buy out some of the salary and then it works. I have no idea. That's really all I got. Not a ton going on in basketball. Christmas games happen. I want them to bring in ugly sweater Christmas jerseys.
I saw those. I thought that'd be Steph hit 3,000 threes, which shocker. But
no shit.
Well,
then let's just move on to football. First thing, let's start off with the saddest news of football. John Madden got into everybody's life, whether it's broadcasting, you play video games. If you watched football, you've heard John Madden. If you watched Saturday Night Live, if you are Mad TV, or you saw Frank Caliendo do his impression. If you
do a pretty good John Madden impression yourself.
Yeah, I do a solid John Madden. Out of
Obama,
respect, I do. Yeah,
Bill Clinton. You got a couple.
I've got a wide
that voice
variety.
Actor in you that wants to.
It's so fun. Impressions are fun, but out of respect, I will hold my John Madden back today
for another day.
I heard some guys on the radio talk about it, and they did not hold back their impressions. They were all trying to do their impressions up. I will try to not as respect,
not be distasteful.
Yeah, exactly. Like I saw somebody make a joke about it 5 minutes after the news was posted. I saw a meme of John Madden's death in 5 minutes. Yeah, we've been there. We've made our dark jokes. I have some dark humor, and I might have found that joke that I saw funny, but I would have the respect to not have posted it.
True.
I would have waited. But anyway, John Madden, one of the most legendary people in football history. He passed away at the age of 85, and yeah, when I read that, I was like, it was just one of those ones I didn't believe it. It's like Demaryius Thomas,
DT, yeah,
and then John Madden. It's just any football death, especially from when now it's these guys that I've seen growing up, or these guys that my dad told me about and I watched. And like John Madden revolutionized the sport of football, because the game Madden genuinely can teach you about football. There's former NFL players that are talking about how when they wanted to teach people how to play football, when they wanted to learn the X's and O's, they genuinely said, go play some Madden.
Sure.
So it teaches you football. They were originally going to put that when they originally were going to make Madden, and they were going to attach his name to it. They said that the video game standards right now would only be able to accommodate 9 versus 9 football. And he said, you can't have 9 versus 9 football. Otherwise, the original Madden was going to have 9 versus 9. And so he kept to his standards there. So he made it 11 on 11 football happen. He did so much. He was also a big pioneer when it came to CTE studies. He was huge into making sure that people, knew. He believed that if you had a concussion, even in the early 90s, he believed if he had a concussion that you should sit out the rest of the game minimum, even though, and his reasoning was because if a boxer gets a concussion, they can't box for like 2 weeks or whatever it is. So he had a huge impact on football, both on and off the field, just like Demaryius Thomas. And so I was super sad because impressions I'm a fan of, so I thought I had John Madden connection there. The video game, huge connection there. Right. And when I think football, when I'm watching the cast, and you think, if I'm watching the game, I hope the casters make me have fun. I hope the broadcasters make me have fun. And I really haven't had fun watching football from a broadcaster standpoint. Really, Manning, Monday Night Manning is getting there. It's kind of fun. But John Madden made you have fun watching it. And I haven't really had any other broadcasters. A lot of radio guys keep the fun. But on TV, a lot of those guys just don't have the John Madden energy.
Sure.
It would be really nice if they did. Yeah,
it's comparable to DT and John Madden is like what it's done or what it's meant to like the NFL world is similar to like Chadwick and like the Marvel world. It's
for sure.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Somebody who pioneered something in their field that they died too early, Demaryius Thomas, or they passed on and left a huge shoes to fill, like John Madden. So yeah, anyway, rest in peace to them. We can move on from the super sad topic, and let's jump into, do you want to do some Vikings news next, or do you want to do the Sean McVay topic I had? Or
I don't know what the Sean McVay thing is.
You want to know Sean McVay?
Sure.
So I was thinking, everybody hires from Sean McVay.
I think good-looking coaches is a good way to go. It's a good start.
He's very good looking, very young, very
energetic.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Matt LaFleur is not really energetic. He's just kind of
right. But Sean McVay, Cliff Kingsbury, the young, attractive.
He has some
coaches.
weird mannerisms.
Sean McVay?
No, Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff is very strange. He's also is like a big Instagram guy. He has one
very odd.
He brought up his Instagram followers while trying to recruit free agents. So he's a very, very off guy. I'm a fan of the Cardinals, but
hit me with it.
Okay, so Sean McVay. Everybody wants to hire from the Sean McVay tree. Okay, everybody's like, okay, you talked to Sean McVay, you worked with Sean McVay. You worked with Sean McVay, and you worked with the guy who worked with Sean McVay. A lot of guys are getting hired. I was watching a clip of Sean McVay talking on the sidelines with his players, embracing his wide receivers, telling them like, it's a good game. I'm going to make sure to get you in on the next play. You made a good catch. Like, just super personable when it was like outside of football. And he was even just like being a good human being. And I retweeted that. And I don't know if you saw it. I think you liked it, but it was like
most of your stuff if I see it. Yeah.
It was just, I just said that you can
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, you can hire anybody from that tree, but none of those guys are going to guarantee you this relationships with these players.
Sure.
Well, so Cam Akers is coming back.
Right, he's going to get very minimal time, but it's going to lead into the playoffs, and then hopefully he'll be.
So I was reading into some NFL, laws, rules, just doing research, how like I normally do. NFL pension laws. In order to qualify for an additional year of retirement wages to get the full benefits, you have to play for at least 3 games. Apparently, because Cam Akers was on a great path, Sean Payton pioneered to make sure that Sean Payton, God no, Sean McVay pioneered to make sure that Cam Akers was activated as soon as he could when they found out he was available to play, they activated him because now, since he is considered available for the final 3 games of the season, he gets a full year's worth of pension added onto his retirement.
Right.
And it's another example of him caring about his players as a human being. It's just like any other work environment when your bosses care about the employees and they show that they care. All of a sudden, the workplace, the efficiency goes
100%. I believe in that, but nobody
calls
corporations.
in
Nobody does that. Nobody does that.
You get a decent wage, and you treat people like human beings. When they're having an off day, maybe the manager picks up, lets them go home, but then they still get paid for the whole day. That person is way less likely to ever call in, even though they're not sick. And like Sean McVay, everything he does, it's his players are at a human being level. Yes, he's a genius. Yes, he can recall the names of the plays that he played in high school when he was coaching high school football. All that aside, you are not getting a Sean McVay coach. Like, you are not getting Sean McVay no matter what. Whoever worked with him does not have that relationship. And I wanted to talk about Sean McVay because if every coach treated their players the way he treated them, treated football as if, yes, it's a business, but everybody always says, oh, you're working with grown men. They're grown-ass men. That's why Urban Meyer didn't work as a coach, because he treated it like college and he thought he could have full control. That's the exact opposite of Urban Meyer is Sean McVay.
Right.
It's if he cares about one thing more than winning, it's to make sure his players are happy where they are.
Yeah.
Stafford ended up going to the Rams because he went to the beach. Sean McVay was there, and they had such a good time relationship wise talking. That's what made him decide he wanted the Rams. Like, it's just so Vikings, somebody that are probably going to get a new head coach. They might look into the Sean McVay tree, the Bill Belichick tree. You're not getting these coaches no matter what. Like,
right.
It's if you want to get these guys. Like, I've heard Matt Rule is very similar when it comes to player relationship. Matt Rule can have the iron fist, but if you went up to him and said, "Hey, I have a problem," iron fist. If I have a problem, he says, "Okay, let's talk about it. Let's try to figure it out. If it's off the field, let's work it out." I just go ahead and hire all these players or these coaches. Unless you get the actual coach themselves, you're not getting that. You're not getting this relationship. And I don't mean to I kind of feel like I'm rambling a little bit. But
no, I think is there assistants and other coaches in the NFL that do the things that Sean McVay do? I'm sure there are, but the odds of you getting that person or thinking of that person or finding that person outside of the media and these are the top fits. Doug Peterson, Brian Dable, Eric Bieniemy, all these, all these people. The McDaniels of the Patriots. So all those guys that have always been they're the next ones, So
all because their team's successful.
Yeah.
It's what they do is, their offense is successful, their quarterback's successful, so the quarterback coach must be good.
Right.
As opposed to, if it were me, if I were the Vikings, I would talk to the Packers offensive line coach. However, I don't know what he's like as a person. The Packers offensive line is never bad. They're always great guys off the field.
I mean, you get for instance, you're not going to find when you get these younger coaches or specific coaches that do really good. Andre Patterson's one of these guys that has a great relationship with everybody. He's very well respected. Our new wide receiver coach, Keenan McCardell.
McCardell.
Yeah, so he's been amazing. Everyone's been we like him. He's personable. He's young. He's obviously doing really well with the wide receivers. So you're gonna find a bunch of these guys, but they're not gonna be Sean McVay or they yet.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yep. So I mean it's hard to wish for that, especially from that tree. Maybe they're just successful in that tree because of Sean McVay.
Sure. They learned the X's and O's, but where they lack is the personable. So the reason that they're not successful when they switch teams is they don't have that relationship anymore, because yes, they have the ability to teach their coaches and assistant coaches X's and O's. they don't have the bandwidth to be able to handle relationships with the players like Sean McVay seems to be able to.
And like Sean McVay wouldn't necessarily be successful in every other organization, much as like Bill Belichick's successful in his organization, but he wouldn't necessarily be successful somewhere else.
Right. Like
so
Cleveland.
like, yeah. So like you have to find the person that's your coach.
Right.
That's your
yeah.
person. Tomlin
Part of it there's some luck in basically everything.
Yeah. Tomlin in Pittsburgh. That's a good one. Ravens, Harbaugh. Belichick, Andy Reid. You know, like there's countless people that have been there a long time. Pete Carroll. Well, I mean, he's very similar to a Zimmer situation, but they came in at the same time too. So,
right.
But
yeah, I just think that's what makes Sean McVay special.
Sure.
I want to talk about that. Instead of jumping into the Vikings talk, let's talk about a couple of the other stuff first, because then we'll do Vikings into like the matchups.
Yeah.
First thing, Hall of Fame finalists for 2021 have been announced. They are Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Rondé Barber, Tony Boselli, Leroy Butler, Devin Hester, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Sam Mills, Richard Seymour, Zach Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, Bryant Young. I think all those guys are Hall of Famers eventually. Honestly, there's a couple on there that I'm not sure make it this year, just because I don't know. I don't think they will. I don't think not necessarily that they weren't good enough to be first ballot. It's just, I just don't think they will vote wise. Like, I don't like Jared Allen himself says he doesn't think he'll make it. Like, he didn't think when he was asked, do you think you'll be first ballot? He said no.
Yeah, and he wasn't. It was last year, right? It was his first term. So
I don't know. I think Torrey Holt could probably wait another year.
I mean, Devin Hester is the one that pops out to me.
To me, Devin Hester should get in. Honestly, there's a couple like Rondé Barber. I was a huge fan of, but that doesn't necessarily mean he deserves to make the Hall of Fame yet. I thought he was good enough too. DeMarcus Ware.
All these guys are good enough too. That's why they're finalists.
Right.
So
I don't think DeMarcus Ware. He had great numbers and he was a good person off the field, which helps. But was he one of those big name guys? Like, honestly, Zach Thomas, I think, should this year. I think Zach Thomas is super underrated. I think he should. Patrick Willis, I think it's too early for him. I think because he retired so early, he's going to have to wait to get in the Hall of Fame early, even though he was good enough.
Right.
And then obviously they have some offensive tackles, defense. Curious
to see how it shakes out. But Hester is one of those guys that's like, he's the best at what he does. So
if I have to pick 3 from this class that I would say should get in this year, Devin Hester, Zach Thomas, Richard Seymour. I think that's probably the 3 I would take. And I feel bad because guys like Willie Anderson, Tony Boselli, Bryant Young were good enough. Right. Like that, those are the 3 that jump off the page to me. Is Devin Hester, Richard Seymour, and Zach Thomas. Like, they just jump off the most.
Sure.
Wanted to mention that. They're all good enough, though. It'll be fun to see who makes it in. Let's go to Vikings talk before we do our matchups. Let's go. First thing, Brian O'Neill has gone almost 800 passing snaps in a row without allowing a sack, and he did not make the Pro Bowl.
He was our pick for the Pro Bowl when we did the
yeah. So almost 800 snaps. He's at 758 passing snaps in a row without allowing a sack.
So, I like when he got his contract and people were like, who is this guy?
Wholly overpay. When the NFL posted their announcement of the extension, the first reply with like 1,000 likes, wholly overpay. Still think that's overpaid? I don't think he was like the one. He is the best person on the line since he's joined.
Yeah. Since he got in there, he's been the best person we've had.
Yeah. So I think that's sick. First of all, we need more linemen to perform like that. Considering that's the side Khalil Mack lines up on. That's the side Preston Smith lines up on.
Right.
That's just like, yeah, I get some of those guys haven't been playing every day or like they haven't been there every game, but these are the guys he's going up against and he's not allowing a sack.
Myles Garrett bounces around, Aaron Donald bounces around. These guys move, these top tier guys move around.
Yep.
And
he went up against Nick Bosa.
Yeah. Well, we know how that went.
Yeah.
Nick Bosa with a nice cheap shot to him there.
Yeah.
And back in the day. But yeah, no, seeing one of these elite guys go up against Brian O'Neill compared to Darisaw, who hasn't seen as many like looks as him.
Yeah.
And I don't think Darisaw's bad at all. I think Darisaw's probably the second best lineman we have.
For sure. I would say so.
It's like night and day. Brian O'Neill can hold his own versus anybody.
Oh, yeah. So. I agree. There's another young stud for the Vikings, though. Justin Jefferson has now the most receiving yards in his first 2 seasons in NFL history. Last week we talked about it. That was for Vikings history. Joe was correct. Yeah. This is for NFL. I mentioned it because I think Ja'Marr Chase is going to beat it.
Yeah.
They were on the same team. Joe Burrow had both of those guys to him. Oh, man, that's insane. But I think Ja'Marr Chase, as the seasons go on, that's a record that I think will easily get broken. Jaylen Waddle has a chance to get there.
Yeah. Waddle's got the receptions, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like receptions for sure. Because
Justin Jefferson, his rookie season, had like no catches, but so many yards.
Yeah, he had a lot of yards, not that many touchdowns. But Waddle's got like, last time when I was watching the Dolphins game, he had like 96 or 97, and Anquan has 101. So, yeah. Waddle will beat the reception record for sure.
I think Ja'Marr Chase is going to get there for yards.
Sure.
Just because he's Joe Burrow's number 1 target already as a rookie, even though they have so many other good weapons.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon's still the second highest producing running back for yards, and yet Ja'Marr Chase is still going nuts. So I think that's a record that won't stand, but it's still impressive. The last bit of Vikings news before we jump into Vikings vs. Packers is broken this morning. According to Fox Sports North, the Minnesota Vikings plan on moving on from Mike Zimmer after the season, no matter the result of the season.
Unless that's a Super Bowl.
They said no matter the result.
I don't know. I think that's the only thing that could save his job.
Yeah, I think even if they made the playoffs, even if they beat one game of the playoffs, like without a Super Bowl, you're still gone.
Unless it's a Super Bowl, you're gone.
Yeah. Even if you make it to the Super Bowl, I think you're still gone.
Yeah. I agree. I think it has to be a Super Bowl win.
All right. So, sounds like this will be Zimmer's. This will most likely be next week. Will probably be Zimmer's last game. Yeah, I get there's still a chance for the Vikings to make the playoffs. I just don't see that happening. It's like an 11% chance, whatever it is. But
we got to win the next 2 games, and Philadelphia has to lose one of the next 2. But
which Packers
are we going to make that many noise? That was one of Kirk's best games, but knowing our head coach, knowing our offensive coordinator, I don't think Kirk's going to put up the like 350 and 4 that he did against the Packers. So.
I did just want to mention, I think Mike Zimmer has done a good job. I do not think Mike Zimmer has done a bad job as a head coach. I did say it for years. Mike Zimmer is one of those guys. He's like a low-level worker that you promote to manager, and they just aren't. You thought that they were the best entry-level worker you've had, so they might probably be a good manager. I think he was an incredible defensive coordinator for the Bengals, and I just don't think his abilities can be like good enough at head coach. I just don't think he's quite.
I see it similar. I see like this is where Mike Zimmer is, but like the NFL is like changing.
Yeah.
Right? So like Zimmer's still going like this, but the NFL is still moving. So.
Sure. And so like I do think Zimmer did a good job. And when it comes to Vikings coaches in history, like I'd probably take Zimmer over Mike Tice. I'd probably take Zimmer over Brad Childress. I'd probably take Zimmer over Leslie Frazier. Zimmer's not a bad. Obviously, Bud Grant will take him instead. But when it comes to Vikings coaches, Mike Zimmer is one of the best we've had. So I do want to say I think he did a great job. And I do think he'll get another job. Yeah, it'll probably be as defensive coordinator, but I think he'll be a defensive coordinator for another team by the end of the offseason. He might get a defensive coordinator position before the Vikings hire a different head coach.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
So I do think he's great. If
a team with a good set of a team with elite linebackers, that I don't think Zimmer's like the corner guru that everyone pegs him as.
Agreed.
I think
he's a better safety coach than he is a corner coach.
Yeah, I think his strength is in his linebackers because they do most of the weird like shows and stuff like that. So like fake blitzes.
He's very good at coaching up edge rushers and safeties. but he needs the linebackers to be in place and he needs the corners to be in place. So I'm not sure. We could probably talk about what teams fit that, but we can leave that. I think Zimmer will find a position though, and as long as the Vikings make a smart choice with head coach, it's still going to be hard to beat what Zimmer's done. And I personally think he's probably not watching, but thank you, Zimmer. I think you did a great job. Let's move on. You mentioned the Vikings have to have the Eagles lose in order.
Eagles have to lose one of the next two.
They play the Washington football team this week, so they might win. They might lose. You never know. I think they win that game, but still. Vikings, however, play the Packers in Lambeau. They have to win this week and win against Chicago next week. In Lambeau is what makes it seem impossible. I was listening to local sports show, and they said because it's the Minnesota Vikings, we will win in Lambeau.
I heard the same thing.
Get destroyed against the Bears. Just
Fields will be probably out to be Foles again.
Right. It'll just because that's Vikings. I don't think that's going to happen. Like if I had to bet money on it, I'd be like, absolutely not. I'm taking the Packers this week. I just don't see the Vikings able to, because the Packers are still playing for something. The Packers still have a chance to give up the number 1 seed, so they still have to basically win out. Because the Bucs are right on their tail. The Cardinals aren't too far back.
The only thing that kind of concerns me in the Packers front is they won by 2 points to the Browns, and Baker threw 4 interceptions. Baker threw 3 interceptions, and the 4th one should have been defensive pass interference.
It's because the Packers, no matter how good the Packers are and appear to be, they're as a run defense. They have yet to bolster their run defense in the past couple of years. They still get beaten by physical teams. If the Vikings can play physical, I think the way you do that is you run Dalvin 25 carries, you give Madison 15 carries, you give Ham 5 carries.
Dalvin's last 2 games in Lambeau, it's like 354 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Right.
So.
They have a very difficult time stopping the run, which is why I also think you give a sweep to KJ, you run Kenne at the slot and then give him a sweep or something. Play like a Debo there. I think you run the double tight end sets. That's the way the Packers is. Keep Aaron Rodgers off the field, which is always going to help. But a big thing is you have to run it up, and not just run against them. You have to scheme good runs. You can't just hand off up the middle. You have to pull a guard, hand off to the right.
It's almost like the Vikings' strength is establishing the run and then hitting them with play action over the top. But it'd be nice to see that.
It would be nice, and I do think because the Vikings do run out of shotgun a lot and pistol. I wouldn't mind seeing Dalvin to the right, Ham to the left. You run Ham goes on in motion to the right, hike it, and then you got 2 lead blockers. You got Conk, you got Ham, and you got Dalvin.
And Kirk runs it.
And then Kirk runs it behind those 3, and Ezra pulled. So you got all of them just leading the way like a wedge formation. Pretty sure wedges aren't allowed in blocking schemes anymore, but still, that's what you gotta do. So
White Lamar.
White Lamar's you gotta trust in White Lamar. I
think the Vikings can beat the Packers. Yeah, I think
they already did this year, but it's in Lambeau.
But
also, it's projected to be one of the coldest games in Lambeau history.
Yeah, I know.
Which says a lot.
Zimmer had them out in -7 the other day
to prepare.
Yeah.
The average touchdowns per game in games that are projected to be played in the temperature that the Packers-Vikings game is projected, the average touchdowns per side in those games is 1.8 per side. So the projected score would be something touchdowns? Like 10-7. Yeah. So if you have to run it, it's not going to be very easy to pass. Field goals are harder to kick with a cold ball. I hated kicking cold ones. So
that Crosby's always due for a miss anyway, so this just kind of adds to it.
And the Vikings kickers, doesn't matter who it is. You could put, you could have Vinatieri
for the win from the 27 yards left hash.
The Vikings could bring Vinatieri in, and he'd miss 6 in a row.
Right. Greg Joseph has made all 8 field goals today.
27 yards. This is shortest one of the day.
Left hash.
Wide left. Wide left. He pulled it. Anyway, so if I have to make a pick, taking the Packers. Don't want to, but I have to take the Packers. I think my heart.
Just because.
Are you taking the Vikings?
I'll take the Vikings.
Oh my gosh! Oh my, get out of here!
We'll do it. We'll say Vikings by 5.
That's an interesting number. Yeah. I'm gonna go Packers by 11.
All right.
And my bold prediction is Kirk Cousins sacked twice. Dalvin loses a fumble.
Okay, my bold prediction is Kirk Cousins rushing touchdown.
Nice. Yeah, I think the Vikings are
even though I need
to get tough, and I think that's Dalvin's going to fumble.
No, Dalvin's going to get 354 yards and 4 touchdowns. Is what he's going to get.
I'm okay with that. But yeah, so anyway, that's the predictions for the Glaziar Gambol this week. This is not betting advice, but that's my picks. Let's move on to another NFC matchup, though. One that has a huge weight also with the Packers, because these teams both are vying for that number 1 seed as well. Cardinals versus Cowboys. Honestly, the Cardinals, just like last year, they're become
skidding.
They start off one way and they finish completely different. Oh, they start off 2-5 and they finish with a 5-game win streak. Oh, they start off 7-0 or whatever it was, and now they're just. I don't trust the Cardinals this game. I think I've picked them in every time we've talked about them, and we've been right. So I think this game is the Cowboys. This is a perfect example of finesse versus strength. And this Cardinals are a really finesse team. And I think the Cowboys are just going to be too much to handle. The Cardinals probably just can't handle Zeke plus Pollard.
Right.
I just don't think they can do it. I think their D-backs are pretty good, but so I think they can handle like the star power at receiver that the Cowboys have. Well, that's always what gets the focus. Honestly, this is one of those Zeke comeback games. Zeke, you're going to hear about Zeke.
Right.
And the Cowboys defense is just too good.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's just fallen off the face of the earth.
Well, yeah, he's lost some weapons.
Pretty sure he came back too early. Based on watching him, he looks like somebody who is scared that whatever they hurt is going to get hurt again.
Yeah, even though he cracked off a 57-yard run the other week.
Yeah, I just don't trust. Every time I watch him, I'm like, that's not the way.
Yeah, he seems skittish.
Yeah, he actually ran. His top speed was higher than Jonathan Taylor's top speed.
Yeah,
just want to mention that as well.
Yeah. I think the Cowboys win. Hopefully Kyler Murray outbattles Dak for fantasy purposes, but
sure.
Yeah.
I would say if I had a bold prediction, I'm going to steal from you in the Vikings Packers. I'm going to say Kyler Murray rushing touchdown.
How about a couple of them?
I'm going to say one. I'm going to say Kyler Murray rushing touchdown. I think it'll be play action to James Conner. They'll probably commit because Micah Parsons plays harsh. So I think Micah Parsons is going to bite on the play action to James Conner, and Kyler Murray is going to probably run in on the boot.
I'll say Michael Gallup will get the first touchdown.
First touchdown of the game, or just for the Cowboys?
Yeah, for the Cowboys.
All right.
For the Cardinals.
And then our last game we want to talk about is another one that has huge weight, but this time for the AFC. Raiders versus Colts. Colts are
the
hot.
MVP in that game.
He's not an MVP. He's got 1,600 yards.
It's a quarterback award.
It's a quarterback award, and Derrick Henry didn't get it at 2,000. And Jonathan Taylor has 2 games left, and he would have to get at least 200 yards a game.
J-Train.
Derrick Henry had like 5 games with 200 plus yards last year and didn't get the MVP. So I don't care what Jonathan Taylor does. I wouldn't vote for Jonathan Taylor purely out of spite for not getting Derrick Henry in. So if I'm being honest,
J-Train will get the cover. Get the Madden cover.
Yeah, that's something. No, he won't. John Madden will get the John Madden cover. I think if I had to vote, probably Aaron Rodgers. But I think with the Raiders, Colts, the Colts are hot. Raiders are falling off a bit. This is another one of those. These two teams are catching each other at different times. I think the Raiders' offense is their strength versus the Colts' defense, which is their strength. is the big matchup because I think Jonathan Taylor won't be stopped. So it's whether or not the Raiders offense can keep up with the Jonathan Taylor scoring against the stout defense of the Colts.
Yeah, but another thing is Wentz might not play, right? That's going to change it a little bit. I mean,
poor backup quarterback having nobody to rely on.
I know. Yeah.
No offensive line.
I mean, could you imagine, like, if you're in the fantasy football playoffs and you're going up against Michael Pittman and they got like the backup quarterback in, you know, like you're happy, but at the same time, like, it's be tough for the.
I think the Colts win this one, and because I think the Colts are making the playoffs. So
I think the Colts win too.
They have
a very similar kind of build to what the Vikings want to do, and that's run the ball and play defense. Except we don't have a defense.
You ready for my bold prediction?
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor 3 touchdowns.
Okay. Is that it?
That's my bold prediction is Jonathan Taylor 3 touchdowns, whether that's 3 rushing or 2 rushing and a receiving.
Say Renfro with 9 catches, 100 yards and a touchdown.
If you want Renfro to go off, I'll keep him on my bench. If I start him, he's gonna not do well. Just want to let you know. I determine whether Renfro does well or not.
Really? What happens if you would have played Renfro last week?
I am against you in the championship, but instead I'm playing for 3rd. It's all right. It happens.
You had to play against the number 1 or the worst.
I had to play
defense.
Against somebody who has Dak and Cowboys had to. I had a 90% chance to win, and I was up by 30 points or something like that. Yeah, and then all of a sudden the Cowboys defense scores 20 something, Dak scores 20 something, and I'm down by 9. I'm like, what the? So, you know, it happens. Just last year I had to go against Kamara in the championship. He's got 6 touchdowns. This year I had to go up against Cowboys and Dak. I just can't catch a break. All right, I'm rooting for you. It's fine. And it's either my brother wins the championship or you win the championships. You know, win-win. But
is it though?
Is it? Obviously, I'm
2 times in 3 years, baby. It's a dynasty.
You started out 0-4 this year?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, you were like 0-4. Now you're playing in the championship. Yeah. Just want to point that out to people. But anyway, that's all I got for football talk.
Foosball.
Yeah. So that's all we got. Again, one more time, I do want to say rest in peace, John Madden. For those of you that like Marvel, movies, video games, we do have another section of our podcast. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. If you made it this far in the video, like, subscribe, really helps us out. If you're listening on Spotify, follow. Other than that, you all look great today. We will see you next week. GG.
GG.